Hello there, it's Sean, and in today's video I'm going to answer a question that comes from a member in our community. He says, "Hey Sean, trust you're good. I am new to the remote sales world. I've watched your videos on YouTube. Thank you. What advice would you give me as I start out in remote sales?" So I think to answer this question, first of all, thank you for the question, and I think I'll just give you a perspective of like what's happening right now as I'm recording this video. It's actually at the end of my day, and if you can see my phone here right now, it is 6:46 a.m. my time. You see, it's 6:46 a.m. my time, and this is actually the end of my day. It's not the start of my day, it's the end of my day, because right now I am based in Singapore and I've started my shift. I started working 9 p.m. my time, because over there in the States, Eastern time, it's 9 a.m. their time. So as soon as 9 a.m. hit, I started calling people, texting people, getting on calls, booking calls, following up on my work, having team meetings, following up on whatever tasks that were given to me, and then getting on calls, closing sales, taking payment, following up, onboarding clients, and in between I only had time to eat a very quick lunch break, and that was it. I hit the gym before I started my shift, and that's essentially a day for me. And right now, whatever time that's left is my me time, personal time. I can do whatever I want, and then I'll go sleep, and then that's a Monday for me. So it is not what a lot of programs and marketers show, which is you can just come in, do a course, get certified, buy a placement, and find a good team, and then close, and then you make money, right? That's for a program to want to market to be irresistible and attractive. Of course, that is the picture that they're gonna paint. But you have to put yourself in the perspective of a business owner. I have several businesses that I run as well. Some of you watching this, you are either existing business owners yourself, or you kind of have your own business running as well. Have you paid for like traffic, leads, calls booked? If you have spent money on ads, a lot of these companies who are hiring closers, and the companies that you really want to get in are the companies that are dialed. And when I say dialed, I mean their marketing is dialed, their sales systems are dialed, and they have consistent, happy customers. That's how you know it's a legit business, okay? All of us want to close for legit businesses. Right now, I'm closing for one fantastic business. I'm super happy with this team. But the thing about legit businesses, when they run ads, they really spend. Okay, and when they spend, we're talking about spending thousands and thousands of dollars. The team I'm in right now, they're spending $6,000 USD per week on ads to bring calls in for us to close. And to the business owner, to the company that is spending this amount of leads, this amount of money to get calls booked, there's a lot of money that they are putting on the line, to bring in revenue. So every month when they look at their scorecard, every month when they look at their profit and loss, their Excel sheet, their trackers, their CRM, what they're trying to calculate is, look, this month I have spent all this money to run ads to get calls booked, and the sellers and closers that I've hired, okay, that I'm paying, that are taking these calls, that are representing the company, are they performing? Are they closing? You get what I'm trying to say? So there is a lot of risk on us for salespeople joining teams. There's also a lot of risks for these business owners who have spent money to run ads. And so when I see every month, I've been in this space for 6+ years now, closing full-time, no base, all completely performance-based. Every month, right, every quarter, every batch, there are, I don't know, thousands and thousands of setters and closers coming in from multiple different programs, just flooding our space. And when a business owner has all these leads that they need to take care of, because this is all their ad budget, they're not going to just come to you and say, oh wow, because you've done a course, you've done a 7-week course, you've done some role plays, okay, you know what, here are all the leads, they're all yours, go ahead and have fun with them. You have no experience, go ahead and take all these calls and just do whatever you want with them, and they're all yours, go ahead. You're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars that these companies have spent, they are not just going to hand these calls to you on a silver platter just because you came on the scene and you say, I've done a course, let's go, right? Of course, to us, we want to complete the closer programs fast. We want to find a good company fast, and we want to get on calls and we want to close fast. That's how we think. But you know what I always tell people, buyer's journey and seller's process. Now you're selling yourself, you're the seller's process. You have to flip it around and look at the buyer's journey to think, if there are all these appointment setters and all these remote closers coming in, they're just brand new, just done a course, just certified, and they might have prior experience from the corporate world, B2B sales, door-to-door sales, but the business owners don't care. In our space, they don't care. What they care is, can you come into my company and sweep up all these leads that are in my ecosystem, my social media, my email list, past leads that didn't close, leads on my social media, leads who are commenting on my posts, leads who are replying to my emails. Can you come in and effectively sweep all this up, convert them into calls book? If you're a closer, can you then take all these calls and convert them into sales close, deals closed, clients enrolled, and cash collected? Unless you can do that, it doesn't matter what you say on interviews, it doesn't matter what your prior experience are, results matter in our space. So your certification and all that, it might boost what you have a little bit, but at the end of the day, when business owners get us in, within 1-2 weeks, they put us to the test. There's trial for 1-2 weeks. They can very quickly see who can show up consistently to work, who can get the job done, who can bring in the calls booked, and who can close those sales. As soon as in like 2-3 weeks, and we have all these certifications, we have guaranteed placements, we've done courses, we have 10 years B2B experience, 20 years corporate sales experience. They don't care if in that trial on board ramping up phase, if we're not able to show that we actually get it, then all those things don't matter. Which is why it's so important. Just to get back to the initial question, right? What advice would you give if I'm just starting out? You have to really look at your brand. And I don't know how other people are teaching brand. I don't know how you understand brand. But the way that I've understood brand is that if you're in remote sales, you really need your own brand. And it's so important, because every month there's thousands of setters, thousands of closers just flooding our space. You need to really stand out and show these businesses that are dialed, that want to protect their ad spend, want to protect their marketing budget, to say that, look, I am not another setter. I'm not just another closer. All those setters and closers coming in brand new have a certification. I'm not one of them. Okay? You have to show that, first of all, you have the work ethic, because the way that you produce content, the way that you express yourself through your content, and you can look at some of the examples I've done over the last 6 years. Just reach out and send them over to you. Just the way that you show up, when you're not currently on an offer, you are the offer. You have to market yourself. You have to sell yourself through your content. Show that, look, first of all, I'm showing up every day, right? And I'm not just posting generic stuff like, oh, look, I role play with this person. Oh, look, I hop on a call with this person, and there were, some golden nuggets I like to share. If everyone is just doing this, then you sharing just becomes generic. You sharing just becomes sharing for the sake of sharing. And then how are you going to stand out, right? So you really need to go deep into your study. If you have invested in training, if you have invested in books, go deep into your study and synthesize what you've learned and then put it out there. And business owners can tell, like, they've done this, long enough to know that, are you just someone who just completed a certification course and then now you're just showing up for the sake of showing up? Or are you a student of the game? Right? It's just like in a sports team, everyone has the same coach, everyone has the same access to the same resources, facilities, and things like that. But why is it that the top 2 or 3 top performers will always rise to the top when everything else is the same? So what makes the difference? So as our space becomes more and more competitive and more saturated, I would say that it is a good thing, because it tells us that the demand is here, it tells us that the space is growing. At the same time, because the competition is growing, you can't just come on board and say, I am name/setter. I am name/closer. If you come from a program where you're doing it because the teacher is teaching that, you also have to take a step back and say, okay, now I understand that the teacher is teaching this, but at the same time, there are hundreds and hundreds of people from the same course. What's my edge? How can I be different? How can I signal to these businesses out there that by bringing me onto your team, you are not going to risk the thousands of dollars on an unproven person? Right? So you have to think from your perspective, and then you have to flip it around and also look at these business owners. They are looking for people with really solid work ethic. They don't want to babysit newbies. They don't want to have to keep checking in, like, are you there? Are you present? By your computer? Are you able to follow up with the leads? Are you able to represent the company well? They want people with solid work ethic. They want people who they don't need to babysit. If you're concerned, like, Sean, I don't have the experience. Sean, I don't have the skills. A lot of these Dell companies, they really don't want to work with a superstar that knows everything, that can't change, that can't adapt. In my experience, they would much rather want someone. Maybe you don't so much have the skills, not so much. You don't have the experience, not as much as a superstar closer. But if they can look at you and they can say, you know what, I can tell that this person has an empty cup mentality. He studies, he shows up, he sends me his notes, his takeaways, extremely coachable, extremely easy to work with, extremely receptive to feedback, and he shows up. Even if you have no experience, or especially if you have no experience, now this becomes your personal brand. And this is what I've always prided myself on, is how I've always presented myself. So in that sense, this became who I really am internally as my so-called brand, and then externally it just shows. I don't have to go and tell people that I'm very disciplined. You guys can see it for yourself. I don't have to tell people that, oh, I'm going to show up and do the work. You guys can see it for yourself. So over time, what's going to happen is then all these overnight closers who cannot go the distance, all these overnight sellers who are in here just for a quick buck, within about a few weeks to maybe 2 to 3 months, they will just like disappear. It happens all the time. And that's when business owners start to see that, oh wow, you're still here and you're still putting in the work and you're improving. Like, I can see your understanding is improving, your clarity is improving, and your work ethic is still there. That's when so many times, even now when I'm not looking, every other day I have business owners writing to me and say that I have all these leads, no one is tending to them. Are you available to take them on? Or do you know who's available for the job? This inbound request just keeps coming in. It's not because I went to pitch them. It's not because I went into Facebook groups and comment and wait. It's not because I went to chase and pitch business owners. No, it's just by me being who I am, and then I express it consistently with the best quality that I can. And then all this thing, it becomes kind of like my marketing, and it pre-sells me. It does the closing for me. And when I do join the team, I'm exactly as how I have marketed myself, which is I wake up on time, I show up for every call, I'm always well prepared, I practice my scripts, I do the best I can. The brand that I show is the brand that is for real. This is how you go the distance. You can't just expect to do a program, get certified, and then wait, and then, hey, I want the best company, but I kind of cannot let them trust that, I can handle all the leads that they've spent their hard-earned money to acquire. So that's it for today's video. I hope I've done a good job explaining my response to the initial question. And if along the way you need some specific resource or tools that can help supplement some kind of the things that I've shared earlier in the video, just reach out on social media and say, hey Sean, I've seen your video and I would like to see, maybe do you have any resource, any demonstration, anything that can help me, book my next interview, past my next interview, I'm already in the team, I want to sweep up more calls for myself, or I'm already taking calls, and then this happened, the prospect said this, like what should I do? Just reach out and give me an update of who you are, where you're from, what your story is, and kind of what like the situation you're going through now, and I'll do my best to support you from there. Other than that, that's all I have for today's video, and I'll see you in my next video.